name is Dr. Lynette Fernandes. I'm an MD in Obstetrics and Gynecology, and I'm a member of the St. Luke's Medical Guild. I am here today to give a talk on twin pregnancy. Twins have been an integral part of our history. As early as the Bible, where in the book of Genesis, Jacob and Esau were born twins to Rebekah. God said, "You are carrying two nations in your womb." And they were born as Jacob and Esau. Then let us not forget St. Thomas the Apostle, who was a twin, as quoted in the Gospel according to St. John. Another iconic historical moment for twins was World War II, wherein among the many victims of Hitler's atrocities were the twin children and adults subjected to torture and persecution, all in the name of science. When it comes to the modern world, there are few among us who do not do a double take or let out a squeal of excitement on seeing twin children. So, what are twins? Development of two or more embryos in the same uterus at the same time. There are reports of multiple pregnancies too. Triplets, quadruplets. Triplets are 3 children housed in the same womb. Quadruplets are 4 children, quintuplets are 5, sextuplets are 6, and so on. The highest recorded multiple birth pregnancy was in 1971 in Sydney, Australia, where a woman gave birth to nonuplets, or 9 children. Unfortunately for her, none survived. Now, coming on to this dogma of identical and fraternal twins. What are identical twins? Identical twins are twins born from fertilization of one ovum with a same sperm. The single sperm goes and fertilizes with the ovum, and that results in identical twins. Instead of developing as a single fetus, the conceptus mass separates into two and develops as 2 separate individuals. What's important here is that their genetic material remains the same as they are formed from the same ovum and the same sperm. What are fraternal twins? Also called non-identical twins. Fraternal twins are formed by the fusion of 2 separate ova by 2 separate sperm. These develop into 2 separate individuals, however, housed in the same uterus, hence twins. Now, if we go more scientific, depending on the type of placenta and the amniotic cavity or the cavity which houses the babies, there are 4 types of twins. The diamniotic dichorionic twins, where there are 2 separate amniotic cavities or 2 separate water bags, 2 separate placenta. The diamniotic monochorionic twin pregnancy, where there are 2 separate water bags but 1 placenta. The monochorionic and the monoamniotic twin pregnancy, where there is 1 water bag with 2 babies and 1 placenta. And Siamese twins, or fused or conjoined twins. So what causes twins? Are they intended for couples who deserve a double blessing from God for being good Catholics? Or is it penance by virtue of the double neonatal care and extra attention needed to be given to them? We'll discuss the scientific reasons here. The most common reason today is advanced age. Many of us women are planning our pregnancies later, about the age of 35. The human body, the woman's body, contains 2 main hormones, the follicle stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone. At the age of 37, the follicle stimulating hormone peaks. As the name suggests, the follicle stimulating hormone stimulates follicular development. Because of its peak at this age, the number of follicles produced by our ova, by our egg, is the maximum. So as in every menstrual cycle, where usually only 1 egg is mature enough and released, because of the increase in the follicle stimulating hormone. 2 or sometimes even more mature ova are released. This causes an increase in the number of pregnancies, especially the fraternal or the non-identical type. The second most common reason is assisted reproductive technique or IVF, IUI. IVF is in vitro fertilization or a test tube baby, and IUI is in uterine insemination. This caused an increase of almost 25 to 30%. Now, we are not going to discuss IVF and IUI in detail because this is a gray zone when it comes to our Catholic faith and our scientific mind. However, because of the increased use of IVF and IUI, the incidence of twin pregnancy has increased. The third common reason is hereditary, especially the maternal lineage. If your mother was a twin, or if your mother has a twin sister, or her cousin has twins, then the chances of you having a twin is much higher. The paternal lineage also matters, but according to most scientific books and literature, it's the maternal side that actually contributes to the hereditary cause of twin pregnancy. So, is it good having twin pregnancy? Is a twin pregnancy the same as a singleton pregnancy? There are a few changes that occur more exaggerated in a woman carrying twin pregnancy. These are an increase in the weight gain. The average weight gain in pregnancy is around 11 kg throughout the entire term. In twin pregnancy, the weight gain is more because of 2 babies, 2 placenta. Another contributing or a significant change in the maternal physiology is an increase in the blood volume, almost 500 ml more than the normal singleton pregnancy. The blood pressure also has shown scientifically a rise of 15 millimeters of mercury over the base. Also, there are increased nutritional demands. The amount of calories and the protein and the iron and the micronutrients required in a singleton pregnancy do not compensate for a twin pregnancy. A woman carrying twin children requires double the amount of iron and almost 300 to 400 kilocalories per day more than her additional base requirements if it was a singleton pregnancy. So say for example, she requires 2400 kilocalories per day in the non-pregnant state. In a pregnant state, she'll require 300 for one plus 300 for the other, almost 600 more. Same for the lactation period. So are there any complications because of all these increased changes in the maternal physiology? While the parents may be doubly excited when they come to know they're having twins, for the obstetrician, it's another story. Twin pregnancy is a high-risk pregnancy, and the reason for that we'll find out subsequently. For the mother, prenatally, as early as the first trimester, she begins by having excessive vomiting. This is known as hyperemesis gravidarum. It is especially exaggerated in women carrying twin pregnancy. For example, a woman carrying a single baby will have a lesser chance of developing hyperemesis gravidarum or excessive vomiting as compared to a woman carrying a twin pregnancy. Another complication is increased liquor. Liquor or amniotic fluid is the fluid which surrounds the baby as it forms an important component of the pregnancy. In twin pregnancy, because of the double number of feti or even more, the amount of liquor is more than what is produced normally. This has its own complication, as in the mother tends to have more abdominal discomfort, breathlessness, preterm labor, and a myriad of other complications which are beyond this forum. Another very important and very significant complication of twin pregnancy is preeclampsia. Preeclampsia is gestational hypertension or increased blood pressure in pregnancy. Carrying a twin pregnancy increases your chances of developing this near fatal disease if not managed properly. Anemia. Another common obstetrical problem is especially highlighted and exaggerated in a woman carrying twins because of her increased nutritional demands. Many a times, the amount of iron that is required by the mother is not taken in due amounts. In the twin pregnancy, this is special because the amount of iron required is additional to what a singleton pregnancy will require. For example, if a woman carrying a single baby requires around 1000 grams of iron, a woman carrying a twin pregnancy will require 2000. So that much amount of iron and micronutrients need to be supplemented to the woman throughout her pregnancy. What about complications in labor? Can a woman carrying twins undergo a natural childbirth or a normal delivery, or is cesarean the norm? There are indications for cesarean in women carrying twin pregnancy, especially if your first baby or your first twin is in either a phase presentation, a breech presentation, a transverse presentation. You're carrying monoamniotic twins, you're carrying conjoined twins, or you have some other obstetrical emergency or obstetrical problem like placenta previa, abruptio placenta, which warrant a cesarean. If not for these, women carrying twins can most commonly or without any problems undergo a natural childbirth, provided it is conducted in a hospital with vigilance of a consultant or an obstetrician gynecologist, a pediatrician, and the woman is prepared, most importantly, for the natural process of labor. However, even during natural childbirth, there are certain complications like prolonged labor. The average duration of labor can be prolonged. Secondly, malpresentation. Malpresentation is basically presentation of any other part except for the head of the baby. Usually, if the first twin is in the cephalic presentation or the head of the baby is down, the woman can deliver normally. However, sometimes the second twin develops a malpresentation. The second twin becomes transverse. The second twin has a foot prolapse. So in such a condition, normal labor is not possible. Whether she has a natural childbirth or a cesarean birth, twin mothers are especially prone for a deadly complication known as postpartum hemorrhage. It's basically excessive blood loss in the postnatal period. And a very common complication is the postpartum blue or postpartum depression. Depression is gaining a lot of forum, a lot of discussion in today's world. And we must understand that women carrying twins are especially prone for postpartum depression. The contributing factors for this could range from something as simple as postnatal pain to something as complex as marital issues, social issues, family issues. It is very important to maintain a strict vigilance on a mother who has delivered twin children and is showing any features of depression or social withdrawal. Having discussed all this for the mother, what about the baby? Are the babies safe? Are there any complications for the babies? You most certainly can believe there are. Prematurity. Twins are especially prone for preterm births. The reason for this could range from early opening of the cervix to over distension of the uterus. It's very difficult to pinpoint an exact reason. Another fetal complication is intrauterine growth restriction. A twin baby always develops, at least physically, less than a term singleton baby. The reason for this could be defective placentation, maybe the space, maybe other complications like preeclampsia. But usually twin babies tend to be smaller than their singleton counterparts. Abortion in the first trimester. There are chances of vanishing twin. A vanishing twin is when you conceive twins, but before the 9th or the 10th week, for some reason, one of the twins dies and you are left with a single baby. This twin then gets absorbed by the placenta and forms something known as a vanishing twin. The only evidence for a twin pregnancy is that of 2 twin feti or more seen on the early week ultrasound. Twin pregnancies are also prone for threatened abortion. missed abortion, inevitable abortions. Another important complication is the congenital malformations are also commonly seen among twin pregnancies. This is because the process of twinning itself contributes to the formation of congenital malformations as well as overcrowding within the uterus. So babies tend to develop talipus equinovarus, they tend to develop flat noses, slant eyes. The next complication is that of single intrauterine fetal demise. This basically means when one of the babies has died in utero. What happens if one of your babies dies in utero? Is it dangerous? Yes, it is. There's a 21% chance of your co-baby dying. In addition to that, there is about a 35% chance of the surviving twin developing mental retardation later on. So it's very important to keep a good fetal movement count. What about the intrapartum complications of twin pregnancy? What happens to the baby in labor? There are chances of the water rupturing prematurely or premature rupture of membranes. This basically forms a protective covering separating the baby from the outside world. When the amniotic sac ruptures, the amniotic fluid gushes out, and along with that, the cord, the umbilical cord, which connects the placenta to the fetus, can prolapse out and cause immediate death of the baby. Abruptio placentae or premature separation of the placenta is another complication that is seen in twin pregnancy, especially after the first twin has delivered. Sometimes the placenta of the second twin prematurely separates and causes abruptio placenta. In addition to that, fetal injuries during the course of delivery, shoulder injuries, shoulder dislocation, hip dislocations, sometimes face injuries, trauma to the intestine can occur during a delivery of a twin pregnancy. Hence, to conclude, like every pregnancy, a twin pregnancy is doubly joyous. 2 reasons to celebrate 2 or more gifts from God. We should be thankful, give thanks, and leave the stress to your gynecologist, who, mind you, will be praying harder than you are for a successful outcome. Thank you.